Hey folks, welcome back. Episode 5. Wow, episode number 5 of the VVU, the Video VxRail Update. Thank you for everybody that's been with us through all the previous 4 episodes. Thank you for sticking with us. For those of you that are new here, my name is Curtis Edwards. I'm normally joined today with Jeremy Merrill, Philip Armstrong, and Joe Maurer. Please, guys, say hello to our viewers real quick.
Howdy.
Everyone. There you go. There you go. Don't be shy. Don't be shy, guys. Guys, thank you very much for joining us as usual. Our viewers, like I said, thank you for sticking with us. Those of you that are new here, this is your first time checking us out, please feel free to subscribe, like, comment, etc. We do this every month. We like to keep it going. And the more views we get, the more likes we get, the more excited we are to give you another episode next month. Right? So today, as usual, we will talk about various things, right? Dealing with VxRail. This is the video VxRail update, the VVU. So I'm not going to call it video VxRail update anymore. I'm just going to say VVU from now on. It's easier to remember. We're going to talk about the VMUG. I know we talked about the VMUG last month. Jeremy went to a VMUG. This month, Joe went to a VMUG. So we're going to get his approach, his feedback on how that went, how it was attended, etc. We're going to always talk about VCF updates. We have a couple that's pretty important that you guys should be aware of. And there are some important vSAN KB articles that we need to address. So we're gonna kick that off today by starting out with Joe. I mean, Joe, you attended the VMUG, right? Was it up in your area, or did you travel?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm up here in the Boston area in the United States, here in Boston, Massachusetts, and we had a VMUG that was very well attended. Great to see people back in person in a real live in-person event. It actually more than just attended, I presented. So awesome. I was presenting on, of course, VxRail, doing some updates on some of the capabilities that we've done with VxRail at the edge. So talking about our satellite nodes and even just the traditional kind of 2 and 3 node cluster capabilities of VxRail. Had great attendance. I mean, I was actually quite surprised at the number of people that turned out at the entire VMUG as well at my session. If anyone happens to be watching and was at my session, thank you for attending, and thank you for keeping it very interactive, engaged. Really had a lot of fun. And then as well, also did a joint Better Together session with VMware on Tanzu and specifically TKO on VxRail. And it was another very well attended, very engaging, for me, I got a lot out of it because it was great just to hear and see customers' perspectives on where things are going and how their own customer environments are kind of evolving with modern app and container workers, or containers and Kubernetes. So great event.
Hey Joe, real quick, you threw it out there. I'm not sure how many people know. Can you say what TKO stands for?
Oh yeah, it's the
technical knockout.
Exactly.
Yeah, or for someone that's going back to
Mike Tyson. Is that Mike Tyson?
Going back to the old video game, and but yeah, TKO is Tanzu Kubernetes for Operations, which is it's really a suite, a portfolio of really a very extensive set of products that VMware has brought to market under the entire Tanzu program umbrella. So it's, again, not just a single point product or not just a single piece of software. It's an entire suite of products kind of designed specifically, and part of it is designed for that flexibility for customers that are on that path of containerization, containerized applications, modern app, and very well suited for VxRail for on-prem environments, and as well even for true public cloud environments as well too. So great story, and great to have the Better Together story and work directly with VMware on it.
So I think we touched on it last month. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. We talked about VxRail being 6 years old. We had our 6-year anniversary not too long ago. With the attendance that you had at the VMUG, do you see still a lot of interest around the product and the innovation of the product and the direction that we're going?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Curtis. There's still a question. I had customers come up to me directly, individually, and say, I'm still brand new and still evaluating. They just started going on the path of hyperconverged, to be candid. Wow. And there's still customers that are still their first time looking and evaluating, and hopefully maybe potentially purchasing a hyperconverged solution, hopefully VxRail for their own environments, and really, do they see the benefit and the value of it? It's just taking some time for the organizations to kind of move there and get to that capability. But yeah, there's still actually a lot of customers that are still early on that path, and that's a great thing. And so there's still a lot of opportunity to be able to talk and educate customers about the capabilities of VxRail and hyperconverged from even just a fundamental level.
But even for those, sorry, Jeremy, even for those customers that already embrace VxRail, there's still a lot of innovation with satellite nodes, dynamic nodes, the TKO that you just talked about, just various aspects and applications that we can run on top of VxRail and the partnerships that we're forming with VxRail moving forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what great thing about doing these events and seeing people in person, and then is you get the true bidirectional feedback. You get the customer experience and what they're doing with the product. That oftentimes we're kind of us being on kind of the product team side, we see the product, we know what we're doing from a product capability perspective, but then seeing what customers are doing to really extend that product to help their organizations, to help their end users, their customer, basically organizations, to really add value in a whole variety of ways, from nonprofit organizations that are helping communities, helping people directly, to, of course, commercial enterprise organizations that are using this for business purposes, that really does enable them and gives them incredible agility.
Awesome. Jeremy, you were going to say something. I cut you off.
Yeah, I was going to ask Joe, because I had the same presentation down here in the Carolinas. How was the satellite nodes? How were those received? Was there questions on them?
Yeah, it was good. It was there's definitely the customers that are familiar with, like, obviously the vSAN hyperconverged stack. Satellite nodes were something that they're looking at, kind of still maybe evaluating the capabilities. They're aware, and kind of the first thing that comes up in a conversation is that it's a single node. So meaning that you're not going to have a high availability functionality from a clustered host perspective. So they kind of like, well, we'll have to see how that would work for them from an organizational perspective. But they do like the VxRail ecosystem that it ties in. It fits into what they're doing already with VxRail. For the customers that are using VxRail, there are definitely use cases that they see as a potential for VxRail with the satellite node specifically.
Gotcha. Let me expand on that a little bit more on the satellite nodes, and I'll put this question out for anybody that really wants to answer it. Do you feel like the customers are seeing satellite nodes as a negative because it's a single node, or is there some explanation that has to happen, or a customer level set that has to happen for them to get the gist of what it's really intended for?
Oh, I think, yeah, by far there's a level set that has to happen, because as Joe said, I mean, it's a single node. But I've talked to one customer that, they're in the retail space, and they have single node at their stores already. And, it's not running their POS. And they're like, oh yeah, store can run with that node down for a couple of days. So I think in the right use case, it's definitely going to fit. For me, it's just more of there's been a lot of conversations on satellite nodes. I'm curious to see, the overall traction that they get, because Curtis, to your point, I mean, it's one node. If it goes down, there is an impact. No matter what you do,
unless we part of our education or part of our information gathering are those applications that are running on that single node, are they protected at the application layer, right? It may not need to be protected at the hardware layer. It may not need to have a cluster if it's protected at the application side.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a customer this week, and like, yeah, we just need file and print type services, and like DNS out there at our remote office. If it goes down, it's not a huge ordeal. We're just trying to put something closer to the end users out there, and there's other ways that they can get to those systems if they need to. I was like, all right. So in that case, let's keep going on this, right? Keep going on this conversation. So that customer says, oh, we just need file and print, simple application stuff, not really a big deal. Why are they even looking at VxRail?
I mean, I think it just comes down to the you guys that have been with us with VxRail for 6 years now know the operational simplicity of VxRail, the management part, the life cycle, the upgrades. And when you're talking about, if you just have a single site, having a node, like just running vSphere at that site, maybe you can manage it. But if you extrapolate that out over hundreds of sites, now managing all of those independent sites and trying to upgrade it and, you know, maintain it over time is almost impossible, right? The VxRail Manager automation that goes and automates that experience for you to do upgrades, you know, firmware, software, all the bits, you know, that's key, right?
Awesome. And then just to reiterate again, right, we cannot have our customers just purchase satellite nodes. There has to be a core area that VxRail is running to manage those satellite nodes. So if you're new to VxRail, you can't just be like, hey, I want one satellite node and call it a day.
Right.
That's not going to work. Okay. Awesome. Good conversation, guys. Let's keep it moving. How about some VCF updates? Who wants to take that one?
I can jump in. I'm sure you guys can you know, fill in the gaps. But you know, one of the things that, you know, just staying with the topic of 6 years and talking to customers at those VMUBs, like Joe was talking about, you know, everybody has seen significant success with VxRail when it comes to lifecycle management, right? That's you know, one of the core value props of the product and all the testing and validation we do to create the continuously validated state. For people that want to extend that kind of functionality into the rest of the VMware software-defined data center, that's where VCF comes into play, VMware Cloud Foundation. Now you have NSX and all the other components. So what we've done and we've been doing is providing customers a service to that. You know, if you have Pro Support Plus as a customer, we have a team of experts that will assist you. So as you begin down that path, if you want assistance with those upgrades, right? When it comes time to go from say VCF 3 to 4 to 441, just work with your account team, open a service request, and they can engage this team. And we've seen tremendous success. We've been measuring it in the past 3 months. We've seen significant success of customers getting, you know, upgrades expedited, completed without failures, and that's a great thing. And we want, you know, more customers to take advantage of the benefits of the full lifecycle management experience.
So, you know, I think it's interesting to note that many of the customers, not many, some of the customers I deal with, they don't even understand or realize that they can call support to get assistance with an upgrade.
Yeah, and it's broken down into a few different categories, right? If you look at an upgrade, and especially when it's something like VCF where you have a lot of components involved, you know, look at 3 different kind of categories. It's pre-upgrade checks, which is very important because you got to make sure that the environment is you know, and VxRail has a lot of built-in capabilities around this, and you know, SDDC Manager has this. We have a first step is pre-checks, and our team will walk you through that, and then you have the actual upgrade, and then you have like post-upgrade checks and things like that, right? So our team will help you through all that or part of it, right? I had a customer a couple of weeks ago that just wanted help with the pre-checks, and then they were going to execute the upgrades themselves. So yeah, it's a great experience, and we're seeing tremendous success with our VCF on VxRail customers when it comes to the upgrade experience, leveraging our, you know, Pro Support team.
You know, there were customers in the past that were upset that and complaining that their upgrades would fail because their pre-check failed, and it's like, hello. You didn't perform we checked to make sure that it would go through a clean upgrade, and that part failed. You got to clean that up and then run the upgrade. So it's good that we have those checks in place. It's good to know that customers can call
before the maintenance window. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Before the maintenance window. Excellent point. Before the maintenance window. So, you know, we have all these checks and balances in place to try to make things run as smoothly as possible.
And I think the key thing to add on to that, Philip, you know, what we call the RPS or remote proactive support team or the upgrade team there and that services organization, this service for our customers that have that Pro Support Plus agreement, there's no cost associated with this. It's included in that contract already. So if you have VCF and you know, you want to do an upgrade, or maybe you haven't done one yet and you're getting ready for the first one, I would highly recommend you leverage this, because you know that team has gone through a lot of process change to improve that success, as Philip mentioned.
Can you call Pro Support and Pro Support? Can you call in multiple times or once? What's
Call
anybody
in,
knows
email
exact?
in,
Is there an exact number?
Yeah. There's all the whole variety mechanism. It can be completely customer initiated. You don't need to engage your partner or account team. It's something that just as a customer, it's part of the standard support offering through Pro Support.
But if there's 4 upgrades for the year, can they call 4 times, or is there a limit to the number of times they're supposed to call, or any idea how that works?
I don't believe it's limited.
I don't think there is. I mean, someone.
We have to look at the fine details on that one, but
I honestly, this is one of the things. I'm not throwing you guys
from a VCF and a VxRail perspective. Well,
right.
VCF on rail perspective, then it's something that they can request as needed. And
right.
I mean, it benefits us too as customers upgrade to, and they install hot fixes, patches that know when there's vulnerabilities or whatever. So we want people to upgrade when they're
that wasn't as a member of this team, that wasn't a softball. I truly did not know the answer to that, so I was just kind of curious. So
yeah.
The rest of these are softballs. It's just kind of how we work, right? It is what it is. Thanks for the updates on the VCF. Next is probably one that's going to be an important one for everybody to listen to and figure out what their approach is going to be. Is we're going to talk about some important vSAN KBs that have just been just been released, and it's important that you guys, our viewers and your customers, are aware. Jeremy?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Yeah, the other day, or I guess just a couple of days ago, towards the end of June, VMware did put out a couple KB articles around vSAN, and you can go up as a customer. I guess not as a customer as well. If you really want to read about vSAN KB articles, you can go check the KB number.
You know the KB number?
I don't have them in front of me.
Okay.
But I think if you just go up to the support or KB site and just type in vSAN, earlier today I typed in vSAN and sorted by date, and it was at the top.
Perfect.
But to look at it, and if you look at them, there are things to definitely read and understand. But I think the key thing, and Philip just mentioned as part of the VCF discussion, is a lot of the vulnerabilities that they've highlighted in these KB articles are resolved in the later versions of code. So, it's, I think most of them are all 7.0 update 3C or later. So for VxRail 7.0 3.20 or later is where you want to be. And, they've already been fixed.
Okay, so
VMware did announce them.
Let me interrupt you there. Let's say that again, but make sure we're calling out the elephant in the room, right? So customers that are not on these newer versions need to start moving to the newer versions of VxRail code.
Yes.
Right? We already mentioned before. that 4.5 and VxRail 4.5 and 4.7 are going to be no more pretty soon.
They go end of
September.
From our perspective, the end of September.
Okay. So now we see some critical fixes that may be necessary on vSAN that we have already addressed in our later versions of code. So those customers that are on the later versions of code need not worry about most of these, right? I think there's 3 of them, Jeremy. There's 3 KBs.
Yeah, I think there were 3 of them that were out there. But yeah, and really, I don't remember. Maybe it's the second or third update. I forget which one we talked about it. 7.03.20 fixes log4j. That's built off of 7.0 update 3C. So customers, if you're running VxRail, if you're not at 7.03.20 or later, because there's 350 and 371 out there as well, you really want to look at upgrading, not because of only these vulnerabilities, but I mean, that log4j vulnerability was a pretty big industry-wide vulnerability that I know, a lot of security teams were beating up, the different organizations internally to our customers saying, hey, you got to get this patched. You got to get this, resolved quickly.
Right.
So update 3C 7.03.20 or later is definitely that avenue for not only that, but for these additional vulnerabilities that were mentioned this week.
So you say 3.20, right? That's where 3C is, but that's not the latest version of VxRail code.
No, 371 is the latest, which is off of 3D.
Which they can also upgrade to.
They can, but remember, we've talked about it.
That's right.
350 or later, you've got to go to Secure Connect Gateway. So for that dial homes, you got to transition away from SRS to the Secure Connect Gateway, which is a fairly straightforward upgrade.
We might as well suggest that customers go down that path anyway. It's where we're going.
You're gonna have to do it eventually.
Exactly. It's where we're going. Suck it up, Buttercup. Let's move on. Right.
Yep.
All right. So we talked about the VMUG. We talked about the VCF updates. We talked about the vSAN KBs. We talked about customers needing to upgrade their environment, try to be at 320 or later. The latest version of code, again, as Jeremy said, is VxRail 70371. Now let's switch gears slightly. This is our VVU for June. So that means July, 4th of July is coming up. Any cool plans you guys have for 4th of July before we close out that you guys want to open to share? I mean, anything?
Well,
anybody doing anything fun?
It's summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. So I don't know if there's anyone that watches us down in the Southern Hemisphere. So hopefully you're enjoying your winter down there.
Valid point. Valid point.
Yeah. Summer for us here.
Do you guys have
swimming
fireworks?
pool? Yeah, swimming pool. That's it.
Anybody bought fireworks?
Yep.
No
They're
fireworks.
illegal in the state of North Carolina.
Are they? They sell them in Costco, don't they?
Sparklers are legal. Fireworks are illegal.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that leaves the ground is illegal in the state of North Carolina.
I'm sure you have a fireworks show you can go watch though, right?
So if I buy a sparkler and I throw it up in the air, is that considered leaving the ground?
All right, anything that's propelled into the air.
Curtis,
So all the fun stuff
South
is
Carolina,
illegal here.
South Carolina will help you there if you're looking for legit fireworks.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
What about Texas? You know, everything's
I mean-
bigger in Texas, Philip. What do you got?
I mean, I live in the city. It's not something that happens in the city, but you know, we're gonna go swimming. We're gonna go watch fireworks. We're not gonna shoot them ourselves. So yeah, that's kind of how we do it.
All right.
Joe, are you
Awesome,
going to see
awesome.
the Boston Pops? Are they still performing this year?
They are. They're back live in person
Nice.
in Boston this weekend.
Boston what?
It's just
Pops,
there,
the
so I'm
orchestra.
probably not going back into the
Symphony.
city. But,
Symphony. I got to get a little more
Yeah.
cultured. Symphony, Boston Pops.
And
I
Curtis,
thought it sounded like a popsicle ice cream stand. I don't know. Whatever.
Curtis, since we're nearby each other here in North Carolina too, you'll have to look around because there are different towns that do their 4th of July not on the 4th of July. Some do it on the 3rd, some do it on the 4th. Where I live, we do it on the 5th because it's cheaper. I'm okay with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
After special.
So you could take the kids and see 3 nights of fireworks around here.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. I will have to look into that. All right, gentlemen, again, thank you very much for joining. Thanks for your input as always. Again, to our viewers, please like, subscribe, comment. I say the same thing at the end of every video, right? If there's a topic or a conversation that you guys want, comments in general, please don't hesitate. Good, bad, or indifferent. We got thick skin. We'll take them all. So,
Or I'll offer this up too. If anyone wants to come on as a guest, feel free to join us. We're
valid
happy.
point. I keep forgetting to mention that. Yes, if you want to join the crew, the Band of Merry Men, we'd be happy to have women on here as well. So anybody that wants to join us and have conversation, let's do it. I mean, reach out to one of us and we'll go from there. Again, thank you guys, and please have a safe and happy 4th of July.